All right, here we are. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's up? What's going on? What's good, everybody? That's right. The box source checking in here. And you know what? It's Friday night, pretty much in the East Coast, but over in the UK, it's just turning into Saturday morning. And they are about to prepare for a bout there in the heavyweight division that is going to be at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester. It is the last dance, of course, the last dance there for a Derek Chisora, War Chisora, as he takes on Otto Wallin there in the heavyweight division, right? Hopefully, we got everything we need here in reference to this. Big ups for everyone that's listening live here on the Boxing Source, and we're checking in here, of course, from the East Coast here in the U.S. Still, hey, I'm telling you, being out there in Vegas for about a week, hey, that was that took out more energy from me than I thought. I guess I went harder than I thought going out there in Vegas for a week. Um, but like I said, back in, settled in. We got a very busy next couple of weeks. As a very busy month. You know what I'm saying? February 1st, you had what we saw there at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Now here we are this weekend. We have Derek Chisora versus Otto Wallin coming up next weekend. We have a set of fights that are coming up next weekend as well that we'll probably get into here later on in the week or in the next couple of days. But we have like a lot that's coming up here. Of course, we got Keyshawn Davis versus Dennis Berinchek. That's going to be in New York City. And then you got the big fight card, Riyadh season, February 22nd. So it's a very, very busy month in the sport of boxing there, and so, I wanted to just touch on, this upcoming fight here in the heavy division. I wanted to see if I could also queue up something here too. But, thing about it is, if I could, oh yeah, I should be able to do it. Cool. So, um, with this heavyweight bout with Derek Chisora and Otto Wallin, there in the heavyweight division. Pretty key bout in the heavyweight division, between these two combatants. With Derek Chisora, of course, being a chisel veteran there. Yes, he does have a record of 35 wins, 13 losses, and 0 draws, right? But he is, currently ranked in the WBO at number 14. In the IBF, he is ranked number 10, although it might be updated there because the IBF did just release their rankings, right? And I think you do also have him. Let me see. I was just trying to confirm if he's in the WBA or WBC, but doesn't look like he is. But Otto Wallin is ranked number 11 in the WBO, 12 in the IBF. Like I said, they might have updated the IBF for that. Number 11 in the WBC, right? So you can say that this is something there where pretty pivotal fight in the heavyweight division as far as like, having these fighters be contenders right there in the heavyweight division. Although with Derek Chisora, he says that he has 2 more fights left in his professional career. This fight and then one, over in Africa that he's planning to do over in Africa, right? So this one here, I guess, is more for Otto Wallin, so to speak, because with Otto Wallin, he definitely has a thing there where he could, have more on the line, so to speak, as he, tried to get back into world title contention. There, of course, he had a few bouts, few bouts with, the likes of Anthony Joshua, of course, and Tyson Fury. Those were his only losses that he's had in his professional career. He's had bouts against Dominic Brazil, Thomas Kaufman, Marat Gasayev, among many others there, while, being a contender in the heavyweight division, right? And, with that being said, he still, has had some type of opportunities to try to get into the uh, heavyweight ranks as far as like getting back in the world title contention in the heavyweight ranks. But after a fight against Anthony Joshua, he had a tough time trying to get a fight, and he only had one fight since then, and that was against Honoriote Eroime. That's kind of tough to try to get through on its own, right? It's trying to tough to get through on its own, right? But we did have a conversation there with Otto Wallin, back some time back, and in that conversation, he kind of like disclosed that he was ready to get back in the ring and had been in a sense to where he wanted to work himself back into the contention in the heavyweight division. You could go ahead and check that out. Let me see here, man. I'm gonna try to see if I can have it queued up, but I want to kind of like table that here for a little bit because wanted to go through the initial tale of the tape here for this particular fight. Now you do have Derek Chisora, as I mentioned there, at 35-13, 23 wins by way of knockout at 41 years old, at 6'1.5" for the reach of around 74. In the weigh-in, he weighed in at 259.75 pounds. That's pretty much been among the highest weights that he's been around in his professional career. The highest that he's been, at least from what I've seen, is at around 262 pounds, right? And that's him at 6'1". Now you have Otto Wallin, as I mentioned there, with only those two losses, one to Tyson Fury, one to Anthony Joshua. 27-2 with 15 wins by way of knockout. 34 years old at 6'5.5" with a reach of 78. So it's basically been, he's beaten just about everybody but Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. And like I said, with those fights against Murat Gasayev, Rido Booker, Dominic Brazil, well, I felt like that was like his best performance that he's had in his career. Travis Kaufman back in 2020. So that's put him, among those rankings, as I mentioned before, when it comes to him being at number 11 in the WBO, number 12 in the IBF, and number 11 in the WBC. But he's trying to get back to being around, number 6 or number 5 within those rankings, and it'll be something there to see if he'll be able to get himself within that particular range with a win over Derek Chisora. Now, for me, it's about Derek Chisora saying, what, is this something where I'm saying like, hey, am I, going in there to, basically win and beat him up? And, we said like in the face-off, he's like, listen, I'm not going in there to box, nothing like that. I'm going in to fight. You're going to have a fight. You're not going to box. We're not going to have all that. We're going to have a fight or whatever it is, right? And we've seen like who he's fought over the course of his career. Tyson Fury, like 3 times. Joseph Parker, 2 times. Dylan White a couple times. He's fought Agit Kabayel. He's fought Kubrat Pulev twice, right? Kevin Johnson, if y'all know about Kevin Johnson there, the heavyweight division. Carlos Takam, Arthur Spilka, had the bout against Alexander Usyk in 2020. So, of course, he's fought just about everybody if there is a fight there in the heavyweight division, and he's had 2 consecutive wins since his stoppage loss to Tyson Fury in 2022. He had the unanimous decision win over Gerald Washington, and then the win against Joe Joyce, which, kind of like surprised a number of people that he was able to defeat Joe Joyce. And, it basically was the knockdown in the 9th round that pretty much like said, whoa, he really has a shot here. And then it ended up being a decision win for Derek Chisora over Joe Joyce there. So that kind of like has it to the point where, hey, that might be one of his, one of his signature wins of his professional career to this particular point, right? having that win with Joe Joyce when he did, because you had Joe Joyce, who had been coming off of the win, his stoppage. Well, he had a stoppage win over Joseph Parker, but he also defeated Cash Ali there before fighting Derek Chisora. So it was a surprising win for many that Derek Chisora was able to get over Joe Joyce there. But now here he is against Otto Wallin, and Wallin is like, okay, are we going to see an Otto Wallin that's going to use his actual height and reach to, try to keep Derek Chisora at bay? Now, the thing with Derek Chisora, of course, he's a guy that's there. I said, even at 6'1", he's still able to get into or get inside his opponents. And him being at 259 pounds, you already see that he's going to be about 20 pounds heavier than Otto Wallin in this particular matchup. And so with Wallin, he would have to have something that would make Derek Chisora respect him. Like Chisora was saying, hey, this is going to be a fight. So if you ain't got something that'll kind of like bust him up or rough him up or anything like that, he's going to make sure that it's going to be a very long night for you. And the thing about it is like, well, with Chisora, I mean, he's somebody that makes it a tough out for anybody. I mean, this is going to be his 49th professional fight, and he's only had 4 stoppage losses in his 13 that he has. The Dylan White knockout. Y'all saw the Dylan White knockout. Tyson Fury, where it was basically a beatdown there in that one. In that latest one, he had another one where, he got, it was stopped in 2014 in that other Tyson Fury fight. And then David Haye back in 2012. He, like I said, he's been a tough out for every single fighter that he's faced. And he's had a number of bouts that, ended up being split decision or majority decision losses. So, either like if it could have been in his favor there for some of those decisions, who knows where Derek Chisora would be at in his professional career. Yes, he has challenged for world titles and fell short, but still, like I said, having these battles against a number of these fighters over the course of his professional career, I mean, that's really something, so to speak. I mean, to fight like a Vitaly Klitschko back in 2012 for the WBC belt, and still be here among the contenders there within the division after about 12, been more than 12 years, or it's been 13. It's going to be about 13 years since that fight that Derek Chisora had against Vitaly Klitschko, and he's still, he is still going here. Yeah, there's only, like I said, there's only a couple fights left, but hey, listen, just to be able to last that long in a heavyweight division, kind of like says something right there, right? Especially having the amount of losses that he's had. Now, on the flip side with Otto Wallin, for him, he's there 34 years old. He knows that there is, a lot that's on the line here in this one. It'll be his 31st professional bout, so to speak, coming up here. He's had a couple of, no contest there. He's had one no contest over the course of his professional career. But here, like I said, you're going up against a guy in Derek Chisora that's been in there against, the top guys in the heavyweight division. You know what I mean? So with that being said, you got to make sure that if you want to stay among the contenders in the heavyweight division, you got to score this win over Derek Chisora. You can't have it to the point where it's going to be Chisora's fight. I think that was the problem there with Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce was not able to keep himself consistent as far as pushing the jab and making Derek Chisora pay for trying to get even close to him. And once Chisora got to the inside. That's where he ended up wearing down Joe Joyce. Otto Wallin can't have it happen. And he's got to be able to properly move when he needs to move, and get his offense off and working very early in this. He has to do it. Otherwise, it might not be a good out for him. You know what I mean? I'm gonna see here, man. I wanted to go ahead and check this joint out here because I wanted to see if I could queue up something here, right? Where I'm gonna see if I can strike this up here real quick. You feel me? I want to see here if I can go ahead and share a conversation that I had earlier with Otto Wallin. So I want to see here if I could get that done. Kind of cue this up, and
pretty good shape. And now we have 10 weeks from today, so it's great. It's actually more time than I've really ever had, maybe. So it's really good for me, and I'm gonna be in perfect shape for the fight.
yeah, that's the thing about it. You had that announcement, or you pretty much got that phone call, as you mentioned there, around November 22nd, and you said, it only took like a few, something like that. So that gives you, all that time to properly prepare, for this particular fight, as far as like.
And now it's just time to put the work in and perform on February 8th.
Yeah. Now, on that particular press conference, you said there that Derek Chisora brings the fight, and that you're walking into the Lions Den, but you're ready for it. You think that he's an entertaining fighter.
He's definitely gonna bring it. He's gonna I'm sure be making a fight because that's better for him since he's shorter. So
yeah, it's got to be a lot different there than the Joe Joyce fight, particular style of Derek Chisora.
I think actually like. This is a good style for me, and has always been since I started boxing. And we have, I think we have a good idea of what he's gonna try to do, and we're just trying to neutralize him and bring it to him a little bit, and just want to make a statement here, and then I would like to take him out. So you gotta go in there and just be sharp, be ready at all times, and also don't be afraid to rough him up a little bit.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, this is part of the thing with you getting up there in the heavyweight rankings, just a contender that you fought before, or somebody that, maybe you haven't gotten in the ring with to get you back in the world title mix.
Right. I think it's, like you say, it's a good fight for me to get up the rankings, get a win. Part of why this is a good fight for me, I think.
Yeah, so you had that. As far as like what happened there earlier, shout out to Supreme Beast Boxing Talk, man, in the building, man. Hopefully y'all were able to properly view that, because I don't know what's going on in the internet thing tripping when I put this thing on here, man. But shout out to Supreme Beast Boxing Talk in the building. But there, that was my early conversation there with Otto Wallin. That was, not that far long after the fight was announced that he was going to be taking on Derek Chisora. And he, like you said, he wants to go ahead and make sure that he gets the respect of Derek Chisora early, because if not, as we saw in the Joe Joyce fight against Derek Chisora ended up breaking him down, and you ended up seeing Joe Joyce hit the canvas on that. Now Joe Joyce, remember, had those two fights against Zhilei Zhang, and of course, when Joe Joyce was coming up, it was a juggernaut, and then he went up against Zhilei Zhang, the Big Bang, and it was Return of the Bang, or whatever you want to call it. And he ended up getting stopped in the first one, and then in the second one got knocked clean out. And man, it, like, Joe Joyce hasn't necessarily been the same since, right? So now you got Otto Wallin, who had the loss to Tyson Fury, by decision, where some people may have thought that fight should have been stopped due to the cut on Tyson Fury. And then you had his fight against Anthony Joshua, where, he just ended up getting beat up and got stopped within 5 rounds. Now, ever since that, he's only had, the one bout. Yeah, there's been some news in reference to Otto Wallin and him, kind of like breaking away from Dimitri Salita and Salita Promotions, too. So, And that's kind of like how he got his bout with Derek Chisora, because y'all remember it was supposed to be Derek Chisora versus Jarrell Miller, and given Jarrell Miller's contractual situation with Celia Promotions, it couldn't necessarily have that fight go through. So that is why you had Otto Wallin be the opponent here for Derek Chisora. So now we're going to see that fight happen here in, what is it going to be, about, let's say about, uh, well, not 12 hours. I would say about 18 hours from now or something like that. That's going to be live in Manchester. So that is, the fight card that'll happen there under Queensberry Promotions. They're on BT Sport in the United Kingdom. So this one, I guess, it's up with two fighters that are within the heavyweight division, top 25, top 30 in the heavyweight division. Now with Derek Chisora, even though he's kind of like said that he's on his way out there with like 50 professional fights, and this is going to be fight 49 for him. If he gets to win here, I mean, what will he do for his supposed last fight? Will he, try to go after something once again? Because I mean, as far as like him being a world title contender, that's out of the question. That's completely out of the question. But if he does defeat Otto Wallin, then hey, maybe he goes up against maybe a guy that's within a similar stature or whatever it is for his last fight. Who knows? But like I said, for Otto Wallin, he knows how much is on the line here in this particular bout. There against Derek Chisora. He wants to, get back in there within the top 10 or so within the heavyweight rankings. Of course, you have a lot of activity that's happening there within the heavyweight division. We know what a couple of fights that are happening on February 22nd there, of course, with Soleil Zhang. They're going up against Ike Caballo, and then Daniel Dubois defending his title against Joseph Parker too. So, the winner of this fight wants to see if they could kind of like get themselves in the mix, or at least with Otto Wallin wants to see if he could get in the mix to fight. Maybe the winner, Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker, or maybe a winner of Soleil Zhang versus Ike Caballo or something like that. So he wants to say that, hey, he wants to show he is one of those major contenders there in the heavyweight division here, but he'll have a good task here in the veteran Derek Chisora, as I mentioned, fighting the Tyson Fury as many times as he fought Tyson Fury, fighting Dylan White as many times as he fought Dylan White, fighting Kubrat Pulev as many times as he fight Kubrat Pulev, fighting Joseph Parker as many times as he fought Joseph Parker. Like, he's had, numerous fights. What has that been? Parker twice, Fury 3 times, Kubrat Pulev a couple times, Dylan White 2 times, fighting Vitaly Klitschko back, 12 years ago, almost 13 years ago. Like I said, who's who of heavyweight fighters. That is what Derek Chisora has been able to do there. Now, but it kind of like goes to, as some people say, like a fighter's fighter or whatever it is. So, go in there and fight anybody. He don't care if it's a win or lose. As long as he gives his effort, he's in there to fight. That's Derek Chisora. So we got to see if he's going to have that same effort here against Otto Wallin, because, as I mentioned, I was surprised that he was able to get the win over Joe Joyce, even with Joe Joyce coming off of those 2 stoppage losses to Soleil Zhang, because that's Soleil Zhang. I mean, Soleil Zhang is about as, just tall or taller than Joe Joyce, and just was there with the left hand. So I thought, with Chisora just being a much smaller guy, and Joe Joyce having at least a big, big thudding punches, he would be able to wear down Derek Chisora. But nope, that didn't necessarily happen. Now you got to see if Otto Wallin is going to be able to do the same thing here, as far as like being successful at being at 6'5", having the longer reach. His reach is at 78, as I mentioned, with Derek Chisora's reach at 74. Otto Wallin doesn't have like the movement or whatever it is as Alexander Usyk. But maybe he get fight the similar or same way as Joseph Parker, maybe, you know, um, and not fall into traps like Joe Joyce did in Chisora's fight against Joe Joyce back in July of last year. So we'll have to see how that goes. But that's going to be another thing, though, with Derek Chisora. I mentioned all of those guys that he's faced so far here in the heavyweight division. That level of experience is a key factor here in this bout. Like Otto Wallin, yes, he does have that one fight against Anthony Joshua. Yes, he does have that fight against Tyson Fury. He does have a fight against a world title challenger in Dominic Brazil. But a number of the other fighters that he's had on his record, nope, they don't. They don't come anywhere close to the level of competition that Derek Chisora has had. So it's more about, are we going to see a actual 41-year-old Derek Chisora that's wearing down? Because a lot of times you've seen Derek Chisora in these fights where, and even you saw it there in the Joe Joyce fight, like all he was doing was just winging it and winging it and winging it and winging it. That's it. But it was able to get, have enough for him to, actually win the bout there against Joe Joyce. It was able to do. He was able to get that and be successful to win the bout against Joe Joyce. Now we got to see if that's going to be the same case against Otto Wallin. Actually, this bout is scheduled for 12 rounds, which I don't understand. I mean, is like, or are we, having a WBA Intercontinental UK title on the line, or some WBO international title on the line for this? I don't understand if they're having this bout scheduled for 12 rounds if there's no title on the line. I don't get it. I mean, maybe it's a money thing or whatever, but usually when it's a 12-round bout in the heavyweight division, there's some type of title on the line. Here, I don't see any title on the line. I didn't notice it or anything like that. So I don't see why they having this for 12 rounds. But my thing is, how how much energy will Derek Chisora have here for this particular matchup? You know what I mean? It says Derek Chisora want that 12-round payday. Yeah, that's pretty much probably what it is. Is that 12-round payday? You feel me? Like I said, it's supposed to be his last fight over in the UK. They're having it in Manchester, England. So I guess he wants to go ahead and have that 12-round paycheck there for his last fight in the UK. You know what I mean? I was trying to see here, man. How many? He's had like a number of fights over in Manchester for sure, but he's like I said, he's been doing the work here. This will be his 49th professional fight there, Derek Chisora. But like I said, he's in there to fight. He's in there to fight Otto Wallin. And my thing is, I've had the conversation with Otto Wallin here, and that interview is there on the channel. Is from a couple months ago. Like I said, not that long after he had the press conference for the fight, right? And the thing is like, is he going to be able to keep Derek Chisora at bay for 12 rounds? Or maybe 7 or 8? Because if Derek Chisora uses up a lot of his energy within those first few rounds and is not successful with a lot of the punches that he has, because he's gonna pretty much step in and just wing it and woof and get in, try to get in the trenches and have a high guard, because he used that Archie Moore type of thing with the guard and tries to block punches like that and everything. So Derek Chisora probably used that there in those first few rounds, first 4 rounds or so. Now, if he uses or if he throws like a lot of power shots and uses a lot of his energy there in the early rounds, and if Otto Wallin is able to properly guard and defend against those, and kind of tag him here and there, doesn't necessarily have to use a lot of energy himself. Then by round 7, round 8, round 9, then all you're gonna see is, You can see Derek Chisora just woof, 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 and you can catch him. Boom! As long as you keep that distance there, once he throws that big hook, get the distance. Boom, boom. You don't necessarily have to hit Derek Chisora with some big shots. You got to time them properly, pop them with uppercuts, or just come in with a check hook or something. Or if you're faster than him, hit him with a check hook. You could get a knockdown. You could get a flash knockdown or something like that on Derek Chisora. If you wear him down or just have him use a lot of his energy early and not necessarily be that successful with him landing shots, then you'll be able to break him down. You can break him down later on in the fights. A number of the what was it? Number of the stoppage losses that he's had, right, have been in what? Round 10, round 11, round 10. It hadn't been since like back in 2012 where he lost by stoppage in round 5 to David Haye. Outside of that, all them other losses that he's had, as far as like stoppage losses, have been in late, very late. Against Tyson Fury, against a Dylan White. And those times where he what was it? He lost to Joseph Parker in 2021. He went down in the 7th round. He went down in the 8th round. So, like I said, if you're able to get through like the first half of the fight there with Derek Chisora, where he utilizes a lot of the energy in those first 4 or 5 rounds, you could probably get him there later on in the fight. So that's what I'm looking for Otto Wallin. If he's able to, properly, utilize the jab or whatever it is, gauge the distance pretty well. He's there as a southpaw, So, like I said, I mean, you got him utilizing pretty much the right hand, right jab, keep him back, keep him at bay. You know what I'm saying? And then shoot the left when he needs to. Just shoot the left. Just continue to shoot the left when you have that open opportunity. But the thing about it is you got to keep that. You got to keep your lead. You got to keep your strong hand open there, particularly since you're a southpaw and he's an orthodox fighter. He's gonna be throwing those hooks. So you got to make sure that you have, pretty much have the hand on the phone, as they say, hand on the phone. You're gonna be utilizing the right jab hand on the phone, or pretty much keep it close to your, close to your, your chin or whatever it is, because like I said, Derek Chisora is going to be winging it with that right hook. He's definitely going to be winging it with that right hook. So that is definitely what I'm looking ahead to here in this bout coming up between Derek Chisora and Otto Wallin. And like I mentioned here early, with both of these guys, kind of like positioned there in these boxing rankings. WBO, has Wallin currently at number 11. It looks like number 11. It might be updated here. I have to check with the WBO because what I have is from, what is it, like December, so I'm gonna see here. I'll check here within the current rankings or whatnot, see if they had it updated here from this point. But I had it at number 11. That's what it has. It's still, at least currently, they're at number 11. As of January 15th, they have Otto Wallin at number 11 and Derek Chisora at number 14. So this kind of the winner will probably go up maybe 1 or 2 spots in the WBO rankings after this is over. Well, at least up to number 9. I'd probably say as high as number 9 in WBO. So you could have that there on the line for the winner. Like I said, for the WBC, they had Otto Wallin at number 11. So I'm going to see here just to confirm. They got, what is this? Actually, number 10. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they got Otto Wallin at number 10 in the WBC right now. So, hey, it'd be pretty interesting to see how they'll be able to have that work out for them. I think that Derek Chisora at number 20, and I have no idea what this that so they just updated it. They have this. Ooh, man, come on, WBC got to do a better job here with the website, man, in these rankings, man, because man, I don't know how they do this thing for updates, man. But you can't even see the number next to the rating on them. You can't even see the number next to the rating on them. But the WBC had just updated their rankings. They posted it up here as of today. And yes, they do have Otto Wallin at number 10. If you go onto the Boxing Source website, I have it where it had been updated from the pre-rankings, which had Otto Wallin at number 11. But it just tells you like what is basically on the line here in this upcoming bout on February 8th in Manchester. Well, it's already February 8th over in Manchester right now. But this is what they have here on the line. It says the last dance for Derek Chisora, his last bout over in the United Kingdom here after, being a professional for as long as he's been a professional since 2007. That's around it's going towards 18 years as a professional fighter for Derek Chisora. 18 years. That's especially in the heavyweight division, like to be around for like 18 to 20 years as a professional, as a heavyweight at that. Yeah, that is something to say the least. That's definitely something to say the least. So I feel like this is going to be a really interesting one, particularly within the first few rounds. Like I mentioned there, of course, Derek Chisora is someone that really wants to try to overwhelm his opponents early in the bout, and then outside of that, we'll see how he conserves or tries to utilize energy later on in the fight. Because if he's able to be very successful early, he's going to try to end the fight early. But after that, it'll be up in the air. It'll be up in the air. At least for me, I feel like it's going to be up in the air. So for Otto Wallin, he just got to make sure that he's able to utilize his distance very well, doesn't fall into the traps there from Derek Chisora, because Derek Chisora is more of like a straightforward type of a fighter. There's not much that you'll have to say, oh, I gotta try to have, or like Derek Chisora's got to have a new wrinkle in his game for Otto Wallin here. No, not necessarily. I don't feel like that's going to be the case. You know what you're going to get with Derek Chisora. It's just in some points, it's enough for Derek Chisora for him to get the win. Particularly if you're a guy that's like a straightforward, straight down the line, up and down type of fighter that doesn't know how to use your range, your distance, or don't have your defense on point. Then yeah, Derek Chisora can get you. But if you at least are somewhat disciplined on defense, particularly early in the fight, you'll pretty much like have more energy and more the ability to throw more punches there later on in the fight and could get down there to Chisora there in the end. So that's what I'm looking at here for this particular bout. So wanted to have that as a thing for y'all to look forward to on Saturday. Now, you do Pro Box TV. There will be Pro Box TV scheduled for tomorrow. That's right, in what was it? San Antonio, Texas, right? You're supposed to have Pro Box on February 8th, San Antonio, Texas. You're gonna have Roman Cardenas versus Brian Acosta, right? And Shavkat Rakhimov versus Justin Paldo in the co-feature. I'm kind of disappointed because the co-feature bout should have been Lester Martinez versus Joe Sean James, but yet again, Lester Martinez is not gonna be available for the bout because it looks like he fell with the illness yet again. Now remember, that fight was happened back in November, But a couple days before the fight, or probably just one day before the fight was supposed to actually happen, Lester Martinez was pretty much out of the fight due to illness. And I mean, some folks were like saying, "Hey, it was pretty serious and whatnot." So even as of what, like, you know, probably about like at least for me, like late December, I ain't really know about the status of Lester Martinez. Then they said they tried to revisit and having this bout here that was going to be scheduled for February 8th, but here you go yet again. Nope. So for some, that's hard luck for Joshua James. Is that could have been another opportunity for him to fight a guy that's undefeated and defeat another guy that's undefeated, and could have really put him in a good position there in the super middleweight division. But now he doesn't necessarily have that opportunity, and I don't think that they're going to revisit this fight. At least for Lester Martinez's side, I don't think they're going to revisit because even when they initially postponed it. At least for me, I thought Lester Martinez had another option as far as like another fight that would have put him in better position there in the super middleweight division. But I guess that didn't happen. So I tried to revisit this fight, and well, Lester Martinez is out yet again. Now, I mean, what was he in camp over there with B&B Boxing? Of course, you have Coach Bomac there, Brian McIntyre. You got Red Spikes. You got Esau Dieguez, particularly Esau Dieguez, who was, there in the corner for Lester Martinez in his bout against Carlos Gongora last year. That was in Washington, D.C. But, now having these, issues here for Lester Martinez, it's uncertain when he's going to be able to be fully able to get back in the ring in a full capacity. And if that does happen, will they put him in a fight that is like really high there in the super middleweight division? Like I mentioned, I mean, you got Lester Martinez, right? Who, like I said, beat the former, the IBO champion there at super middleweight and Carlos Gongora. And now, you got Lester Martinez, who's actually ranked number 2 in the WBA. Ranked number 8 in the WBC. Well, let me make sure of that with the WBC. I'm gonna make sure of that here real quick. Let's see, super middleweight. Let's see, they got him at number. Looks like what, number 9? Yeah, number 9. They got him ranked in number 9 in the WBC right now since they just updated the rankings, right? So. Like I mentioned, that would have been something for Joshua James to try to get right there in the mix in the super middleweight division. But now he doesn't necessarily have that opportunity, and it just really sucks on that front. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's mainly what I had as far as like the preview. Big ups for everyone that's listened live here on this one. I'm gonna be back at it, try to be at it here for the Boxing Source podcast on Sunday. Not sure what time, but also tomorrow, scheduled for 6 p.m. Eastern time. It's gonna be shark season. Yeah, that's right. It's gonna be shark season. Derek Scooter Davis is gonna be on here on the channel tomorrow, scheduled for 6 p.m. Eastern time. So y'all be sure to tune in for that. And also, I'm gonna have a couple of other things that's gonna be happening here on the Boxing Source YouTube channel. Yes, I have to go ahead and try to update stuff on Rumble as well, because there's a lot of stuff that's on YouTube that's not on Rumble, and I want to add it on Rumble as well. And y'all be sure to check out the boxingsource.net, the website, the boxingsource.net. We recently updated it, has a new layout, new format, all that type of stuff, putting on news and everything like that. So y'all be sure to check out the website. We try to get as much content, boxing content for you as we possibly can. And that's that's pretty much what we're here for, is to give you all as much boxing content as possible. You know what I mean? So that being said, I like I said for tomorrow, be sure to tune in tomorrow, and also the Boxing Source podcast. Yeah, I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, and I know there's gonna be about 50, 11 million people that's gonna watch to see if the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the third consecutive Super Bowl title. But hey, boxing is boxing. Boxing is pretty much every day. So we're gonna try to have something. Uh, I don't know if it's gonna be. I'll see how I figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. It's probably gonna be after the Super Bowl, but we'll see. I'll let y'all know, or it'll pretty much be announced on that day what time I'll have the next episode of the Boxing Source podcast. So, with that being said, be sure to hit the like button, hit the share button for those that want to go ahead and listen to the preview. I gotta actually review this because when I played the interview or parts of the interview there with Otto Wallin, it looked like the internet was not interneting. Okay, so hopefully it's straight on that. But I'll check it, and once again, thanks everyone for listening in, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.